Yo, I swear to God, I stopped for a breakfast sandwich on my way to the office this morning and saw probably the craziest thing I've seen in months. By the time I got my food, it was stone cold and I almost missed my train. It was 7:30 downtown, right outside the subway stop. The breakfast truck's griddle was sizzling, the line stretched all the way to the bus stop, and every single person there was staring at their clock, one eye on their work email, counting down the minutes to clock in. We were all this close to losing it over a delayed train. That's when we heard it. A heavy-duty electric scooter came flying up the sidewalk, slammed to a halt directly in front of the truck's service window. Front wheel was inches from the prep station, nearly knocked over the whole bin of toppings. The woman on it didn't even put the kickstand down, just leaned over the handlebars and yelled over the griddle, "Gimme 2 bacon, egg, and cheese, extra sausage and hash browns. Now, I'm late for work." The guy running the truck didn't even look up at first. Dude's been here forever, seen every kind of morning chaos. He just kept cracking eggs, working down the order list for the people at the front of the line, didn't give her a single glance. That's when her voice shot up an octave. She slammed her hand on the handlebars so hard her empty Starbucks cup fell off and screamed, "Are you deaf? I'm talking to you. Hurry up, I'm gonna miss my shift." For the record, this guy moves fast. Flip the bread, melt the cheese, or wrap it up. Even if she'd just gotten in line, she would have had her food in 5 minutes max. No rush at all. By the time she finished yelling, he flipped the sandwich over, grease popping off the griddle. Still didn't look up, but his voice was flat and cold. "Move your scooter, you're blocking my window, and get in line. Everyone here is in a hurry. You're not special." That set her off completely. She propped the scooter up against the truck, didn't even lock the kickstand right, leaned on the front with her hands on her hips, and went full Karen, waving her phone around, recording the whole thing, screaming, "I'm not moving it. Who do you think you are? This is garbage service. I know my rights. I will sue you. I want to speak to the owner." The owner just stared at her for a second, rolled his eyes so hard I thought they'd get stuck, sighed, and went back to cooking. The sizzle of the griddle barely covered her non-stop yelling. The line was all groaning. A couple people were snickering. Everyone was over it. That's when a guy stepped out of the line. Big dude in work gear, arms thick, had been quiet the whole time, just standing there frowning at her. He didn't say a single word, just stepped up, moved her out of the way like she was a traffic cone, grabbed the scooter's handlebars, lifted the whole thing off the ground like it was nothing, and tossed it straight into the waist-high bushes lining the sidewalk. It landed deep in the branches, wedged in there like a lawn dart, stuck so tight you couldn't even see the wheels. The whole line went dead quiet for half a second, then the whole line lost it. Even the Karen stopped yelling, her mouth hanging open. By the time we all snapped out of it, the guy was gone. Turned down the side street and vanished, no words, no nothing. When she snapped back to reality, she let out a scream you could hear down the block. She ran to the bushes, yanking and pulling at the scooter, but it wouldn't budge an inch. Then she spun around, stormed back to the truck, and flipped the entire condiment station clean off the counter. Ketchup, mustard, relish, napkins, everything went flying across the sidewalk. She was stomping on the toppings, screaming at the owner, "This is your fault. You're responsible. You're gonna pay for my scooter." The poor guy nearly dropped the sandwich he was holding, just froze, eyes wide, like he couldn't believe he was getting blamed for this, just for selling breakfast. After she was done screaming at him, she turned on all of us in line. "None of you are leaving. You all saw it. You're all responsible. You're gonna help me get my scooter out." Everyone immediately backed up, trying to get out of the way, but she was fast, lunged forward, dropped straight to the concrete, and wrapped both arms around the legs of the only guy in line. In a full suit, this clean-cut kid, clearly an intern on his way to the office, had that whole fresh intern corporate look. She held on so tight, he couldn't even step back. Like for real, she really picked the worst possible person to grab. The only guy in line who couldn't just shove her off and run, and it still backfired immediately. Within 10 seconds, a huge crowd had circled up. Every single person had their phone out, recording. She was still on the ground, clinging to his legs, just screaming at the top of her lungs, "You're not leaving, you're not going anywhere." That he had to take responsibility, that she was pressing charges. The older folks pushing through the crowd gave him the dirtiest looks, muttering and shaking their heads like he'd done something awful. This kid's face went bright white. He froze, hands up in the air like he was being detained, just repeating over and over, "I don't even know you. I've never met you before. Someone call 911, please." He looked like he wanted to sink straight through the sidewalk. Right as she started screaming about suing the whole block, the owner finally called my name. I grabbed my sandwich, booked it to the subway, and dipped. I have no idea what happened after that.